I never imagined a single phone call could turn my quiet Saturday into absolute chaos. I was halfway through unpacking boxes in my new apartment when my mother called, her voice sharp with excitement. "We finally did it," she said. "We gave your sister the keys." I froze, a mug still in my hand. The keys to what? There was a pause, followed by a laugh, as if I were being silly. "Your house, of course. She's going to stay there for a while. You know how hard things have been for her." I sat down slowly on the floor, surrounded by cardboard and bubble wrap. "Mom, I don't own that house anymore." The silence on the other end was so thick, I could almost hear it breathing. 2 weeks earlier, I had signed the final papers and handed the keys to a young couple who were overjoyed to buy their first home. The house was no longer mine in any sense, legally, emotionally, or otherwise. I had walked away with a clean break and a sense of relief I hadn't felt in years. That house had been the center of countless arguments in my family. I bought it on my own after years of saving, working double shifts, and saying no to vacations and luxuries. From the moment I moved in, my parents treated it less like my home and more like a shared family asset. My younger sister, Lila, especially loved to remind me that family doesn't charge family whenever she needed a place to crash, storage space, or money. At first, I tried to be understanding. Lila had always been the golden child. She struggled, and everyone else was expected to compensate for it. When she lost her job, my parents suggested she move in temporarily. When temporary stretched into months, they asked me to be patient. When she stopped contributing entirely, they told me I was being selfish for expecting rent. The final straw came when I returned home one evening to find my bedroom door locked from the inside. Lila had invited friends over and decided my room was quieter for them to hang out in. My parents backed her up, saying I could sleep on the couch for one night. That was the night I started planning my exit. I didn't tell anyone I was selling the house. Not my parents, not my sister, not even my closest relatives. I knew if I did, the guilt tripping would begin immediately. They'd remind me of sacrifices, of family bonds, of how Lila had nowhere else to go. So I kept quiet, hired an agent, and moved forward without looking back. When the sale was finalized, I felt free. Until that phone call. "What do you mean you sold it?" my mother finally asked, her tone shifting from confusion to disbelief. "I sold it legally," I replied. "The house belongs to someone else now." "That's impossible," she snapped. "We were just there yesterday. We let Lila in." My stomach dropped. "You what?" "She needed access." My father's voice came on the line. "We made copies of the keys months ago. Don't start overreacting." I closed my eyes. "Copies? Of course." "You broke into someone else's house," I said quietly. "They didn't take that well." Within an hour, my phone exploded with messages. Lila was furious, accusing me of humiliating her. My parents said I had embarrassed the family, that I should have warned them, that this wouldn't have happened if I had been honest. Then the call came from an unfamiliar number. It was the new owner. He was polite, but clearly shaken. He explained that his wife had gone to the house to drop off supplies when she found strangers inside. My parents had insisted they had every right to be there. Lila had already started moving her things into one of the bedrooms. The police were called. I provided the buyer with all the documentation he needed and apologized repeatedly, even though I knew this situation wasn't my fault. Still, the guilt crept in. Not for selling the house, but for not cutting ties sooner. The fallout was explosive. My parents demanded I fix this, as if I could somehow reverse a completed sale. Lila cried about having nowhere to live and blamed me for ruining her life. Extended family members chimed in with opinions, most of them suggesting I should have handled it differently. But for the first time, I didn't back down. I told them the truth. I was tired of being treated like a resource instead of a person. I was done sacrificing my stability, so others wouldn't have to change. The house was mine, and selling it was my right. They didn't like that answer. For weeks, communication was minimal. Holidays passed with awkward silence. I was painted as the villain in stories I wasn't present to defend. And yet, every morning in my new apartment, I woke up calm. No unexpected guests. No guilt-driven obligations. No one telling me what I owed them simply because we shared blood. Eventually, my parents reached out again. Their tone was softer, careful. They said they hadn't realized how serious things had become. Lila had moved in with a friend. Life had gone on. They never apologized outright, but they stopped asking for keys to things that weren't theirs. As for me, I learned something invaluable. Sometimes the only way to reclaim your peace is to lock a door and make sure no one else has the key.